Hello all my Kenvians and welcome to a brand new episode of Discovering Doctor Who! Ah! I don't know why I did that. But today the episode, or rather the special, I'm going to be watching and reviewing is going to be the 2016 Christmas special, which is known as The Return of Doctor Mysterio. Which is weird. But, I'm going to assume that the Doctor is Dr. Mysterio. But based on the little clip art here, just because, I mean, you can't avoid all images. It's just impossible at this point. I'm gonna guess it has something to do with a superhero? I don't know, and maybe he thinks the Doctor is the villain and he's Dr. Mysterio or something silly like that. But anyway, let's get right into it and begin The Return of Dr. Mysterio.
Would it be alright if I came in?
Oh, that's just my mom!
Wait.
Mom, wake up!
Okay, just noticed something, primarily because of the closed captions. If this isn't America, and I'm guessing New York, maybe Chicago? I don't know. But regardless.
Mom says I'm coming. You're expected.
And it says mum, and it sounds like he's saying mum. You'd think that would be something they would not do? I don't know.
Superman and Clark Kent are one and the same person.
Are you serious?
I used to be Superman.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now, hush. I know what to do.
Shush!
Take this.
Oh.
Who are you?
Cold medicine that looks like
Yeah,
a,
but who are you?
not a starburst,
Which one though? There's lots
gusher
of
candy.
others.
It looked like a glowing gusher candy.
All based on me. Now we turn on the lights. Pop the gemstone right in there.
What gemstone?
The gemstone that I gave you, pop it right in there.
Oh no.
That was a gemstone.
Well, it's more than just a gemstone. It's also like a kind of onboard computer. Come here.
Oh no.
Can you see?
He took it because he thought it was medicine. The doctor gives you a glass of water and something that looks like a pill.
Formed in the heart of the red hole. Pop it in.
I thought it was medicine.
Yep.
What?
It looked like medicine.
What have you done with it?
Well, you gave me medicine in a glass of water and you said you were a doctor. I thought it was for my cough.
Oh, swallowed it. Stay calm.
Whams, I don't stay calm.
Don't panic.
Whams, I panic.
Oh god, this is ridiculous and adorable.
We're here to open your minds.
So is this guy like the Lex Luthor?
One more question. I've been looking into your funding.
At the last count, Wyoming.
So she's like Lois Lane,
If you good people will excuse
I'm guessing.
this young lady will guide you to the exit.
He's eating sushi.
I'm an intruder too. Gotta pull snacks. Welcome a program. Keep listening. Looks like
Oh, creepy.
What the hell is that?
He's got eyeballs.
Is that a joke?
One of them is in him.
Look at them. They're like
Yep.
your eyes.
Body snatchers.
I had a change of mind.
Oh, that was glorious. The ghost.
Last vigilante, but he's
Oh, hi, Grant. Oh, that's cool.
Wouldn't cause lasting harm to any individual.
Is he doing a Batman voice?
However, light to moderate injury is fine.
I am Batman.
Good. Hello? You're right home.
Do you have a car?
No.
No. I have a plane, because I'm Batman.
Look at you. Up again? Did you ever sleep?
Wait,
Good evening, Mrs. Lombard.
Oh.
Lucy Lombard?
Gonna be good.
Lois... Oh my god!
Buzz, and maybe met someone.
Can't stop what?
The X-ray vision.
Oh no.
Mental health. Naked health. I just can't look at people. This is Mr. Huffle. Mr. Huffle feels pain. Meet me in the kitchen.
Lucy is scary. Mr. Huffle feels pain.
And prepare the earth for full colonization.
Huh.
Mrs. Lombard, there are some situations which are just too stupid to be allowed to continue. Welcome, brother.
He's got a splitting headache.
A little crap. He doesn't look dangerous.
Oh! I'm talking to Lyle! Impossible!
That's awesome.
Back in your skins now. Except, of course, they're not your skins, are they?
What do you want?
Mercy.
Trial and error, to be honest. A few accidental stopoffs along the way.
Groups?
12th century Constantinople. Not ruled firmly, but wisely.
Issued a warning. Today's the bug. Take some stationery. The ghost, what have you got?
The whole story.
Fact me, babies. Why are we assembled here?
No, sir, that's not the reason, is it?
Just get on.
You cut me out of Hydroflax because you were worried you'd be lonely.
Oh,
We
he
know why, don't we?
got him out of Hydroflax and reassembled him.
Subject.
I'm not avoiding anything. I'm just trying to...
Bit empty, isn't it?
Yes, I created a distraction. I thought it down to go to Pokemon.
Fill the fuck for it. Come on.
See that?
Signal, isn't it? Aye. Uncomfortable in restaurants.
I wear a cape all the time. People walk all over it. Do you have any idea what my dry cleaning bill is like? I am Batman.
Warm enough.
Trying. The shielding's too good.
But can't we track the signals?
Tracking them now.
Kinda wish I had a cup of tea.
Wet
I
powder.
feel jealous.
Well,
That's where you're wrong. They have the same plan they always have. What plan? Me.
The Doctor. Yay!
Dr. Thran's.
you'll find me a lot harder to cut open than your previous victims.
You are faster than all of them.
In your world for 5 years.
Don't worry about me. Do what you gotta do.
You are faster and stronger than all of them.
Don't listen to him.
Remove told me something there. You told me something useful. You shouldn't have done that. What did I tell you? You told me that the time is currently wrong.
Mm.
Is the smile? I don't like the smile.
It is a scary smile.
I can't remove it. I can't stop it falling. There's only one thing I can do. What? The unexpected. The thing about being a room full of buttons and switches is... buttons and switches.
He's a madman!
Let's go for a walk. Shall we?
This is a very scary smile.
Over to you.
Mrs. Lombard,
I am Batman.
please, get down.
And Superman. In one. It's a weird combination. I both hate and love myself at the same time. I'm my own brother. I don't know what I'm talking about. And then they all died. The end. Superman Returns. Yep, got the Superman Returns catching the airplane deal. Pretty iconic pose, though. Well done.
Yes, sir.
Ew.
Wait here. Putting a call into Osgood.
Osgood! Oh. Wait. That doesn't make sense. They need the surgeons, right?
No, laid to rest.
He never explained. Who exactly is he? Doctor Who?
Dr. Mysterio.
Doctor Mysterio.
Angry Eyes! Ooh, is this a preview?
I'm Bill.
Bill!
Tips. He's a professor, or a lecturer, or as I call him, Doctor What. And now we go everywhere.
It's like a
Spaceship.
Kitchen?
Where are we? Which way is that? What's the Dalek?
Are you out of your mind? Yes, completely, but that's not a recent thing.
Oh my goodness, that was awesome. Oh, Matt Lucas's Nardole. Okay. Oh, Grant was just in chat when Lucy Charity Wakefield. I don't know the rest of these people, so oh, I have so many thoughts. So many thoughts. But as always, I'm going to, well, as always recently anyway, I'm going to take a few minutes to kind of finish up some notes I was kind of taking here, or actually trying to organize some notes. And I will be right back after the break with the review section of this video. Until then, I will be right back. Right, so we're back. Yeah, so I've taken all my notes down. It's time for the review portion of this video. And I'm going to try and, as far as what I usually say, you know, you all know as far as what I usually talk about, my favorite parts, annoyances, questions, favorite quotes, tracks, and this and that. Anything you want to say, let me know let me know in the comments down below. I'm really looking forward to seeing what you all thought of this episode or this special. And, you know, also what you may think of my thoughts on it. But let's get started with my favorite parts of the special/episode. Beginning with, and it's just it's a very simple, very subtle touch. But the comic book intro, the fact that the episode itself starts with just this comic book panel and we go into the comic book, which really sets the stage for a lot of aspects of this episode, most of which I like. I'll put it that way. Most of which I like. But moving on from there, my next favorite part of this episode was just the Doctor hanging outside Kid Grant's, or young Grant's window, swinging back and forth. Because he accidentally tripped one of his own traps, which I'd like to know what the trap was supposed to do or how the trap was set up at all. But going on from that, when he actually does get in, the fact that I like the line that he was expected, or like his mom said to let him in, the old man in the window in, which is creepy because she thinks he's talking about Santa. Still really weird though. Still really weird. Because if he's expected and the kid takes the milk and cookies to his room, the adult's clearly thinking, well, knowing that Santa ain't real. Sorry for any kids that are watching. The kid's just gonna eat the milk and cookies. I don't know. It seems strange, but I really did like that aspect. It was just fun. And I'll get to that, my annoyances. I'm sorry. But my next favorite part of this episode is that apparently the Doctor has never read comics before. And it is freaking adorable. Because it was like they're talking about Spider-Man, and then he's reading the comic of the Superman comic. Superman and Clark Kent are one and the same person. That was just perfect. It really was. And I could swear I thought I've seen the Doctor look at comics before, but at the same time, he has all of this knowledge in his mind from the galaxy, well, not the galaxy, the universe throughout time. You know, a little bit of random trivia about comic books might not, you know, be all that much of a priority in the old noggin. So yeah, that was great. My next favorite part is what leads to the whole thing with Grant, really. And it's when he swallows the gemstone, which we don't see, but he swallows the gemstone thinking it was medicine for his cold. Which again, makes complete sense. This guy tells you he's the doctor. All the other doctors are basically bandwagoning off of him. He's the main one. And he gives you water and something that looks like a pill. Or as I said in the reaction, a glowing gusher candy. Which, if you don't know what that is, you might be too young because it was around when I was a kid. But all the same, it's like, it was just so perfect. And the fact that he gets the superpowers from the gemstone because of it knowing what he wants and granting his wish to be a superhero, essentially. But yeah, so that was great. And a wonderfully hilarious bit of miscommunication there. And again, the doctor says, take it. He doesn't say, hold on to this. He says, take it, as in, take this pill. So there you go. My next favorite part of this episode, it's when really all of my comparisons for this episode to Superman comics begins. And it's when we see, first of all, Harmony Shoal, which again, I got the reference to the Daily Planet sign because that's the way it was. I'm pretty sure in most, if not all, of the representations of the Daily Planet in comics and cartoons and probably even movies, but it's a planet with, like, you know, the spinning text around it. But in this case, it was Harmony Shoal, the place of the bad guy, and what's his name? Brock. I don't remember his first name, but Mr. Brock of Harmony Shoal. In my eyes, again, well, I guess he's not really the head of it, but something about the way he was introduced made it seem like he was the Lex Luthor of the operation. He's the brains of the operation, which obviously is not true, figuratively and literally, but that's the implication I got from it. And then we have Dr. Sim, which I think I mentioned this in the reaction, but because of, you know, all the brains and the aliens and all that, it reminded me of another Superman villain, Brainiac. So I feel like, you know, all of these were sort of little references, some maybe more subtle or some maybe I'm connecting that aren't really there, but connecting this story to Superman and a lot of that comic's more iconic characters, which also brings us to Lucy Fletcher, aka Lucy Lombard, aka the equivalent of Lois Lane in the Superman comics, of the Daily Chronicle. Again, Daily Planet, Daily Chronicle. I just, so many references, so many of them, and then, well, I'll get to him in a minute, but one thing that really stood out to me, and this is, to the best of my knowledge, completely separate from anything having to do with Superman or anything like that, but because we find out the brains are all aliens with little glowy eyes, and they get put into the bodies by these three, like, they're just referred to as the surgeons in this episode, but every time I saw them I was just like, the way I mentally described them was creepy zombie ghost surgeons. Probably sounds really stupid, but it works in my head. The creepy zombie ghost surgeons. So yeah, that's how it goes for me, I guess. Even though they were, I guess, like those aliens, which aren't named, but because Krang in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is kind of a brain-like thing, I'm going to call them the Krangs. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, that was just one thing that stood out to me. Now, when we get to the Ghost himself, so many... I don't know if all of these were absolute references, but obviously we have Superman, the Superman reference, because all of his powers are Superman's, basically. Minus the snapping his fingers and being able to, basically pyromancy. That was weird. I guess he didn't get the laser vision or whatever. He got the X-ray eyes. But, so we've got Superman, then there's the Ghost, which I keep trying to remember. I feel like there was a classic comic book superhero who was kind of like Batman in the masked vigilante sense, called the Phantom. I might be wrong on that, but I feel like that's where the Ghost comes from. It's a reference to the Phantom. And then, of course, I am Batman. The voice, the voice, and also like his armor to a point, because well, he was wearing armor, whereas Superman, classically, he wears a skin-tight suit. Sometimes with red underwear. On the outside. But, yeah, so the outfit and the voice when he's the Ghost was very much a reflection of Batman, or more specifically, the Dark Knight series of movies. So... yeah, just like the Ghost and Grant himself was an interesting little mix there, to say the least. My next favorite part of this episode was just the little scene where we see the gemstone having become, it's become a part of Grant at that point. But the way it responds to him going through puberty, and, well, the one example that we get in that scene is uncontrollable X-ray vision. Which... if you're a teenager, could be both a blessing and a curse. Because again, he starts to glance over at the Doctor, then immediately turns away. But, one thing I kind of wish they did expand on, but, I mean, understandably they didn't because of time constraints, was were any of his other powers sort of uncontrollable to a point? X-ray vision was apparently always on, but... was there anything else that he couldn't fully control? So there you go. Let's see, my next favorite part of this episode is when Lucy interrogates the Doctor. And Lucy is scary when she's in business mode, especially with Mr. Huffle, because Mr. Huffle feels pain. And every time she squeezed that little guy, it was... very unnerving. Very unnerving, to say the least. But it was done so well. Like, that scene with her and the Doctor, that was probably some of her absolute best acting in this entire episode. I don't think that I've seen her in anything else, or if I have, the roles don't come to mind, but she did really good in that scene. Just very intense, very to the point. Very analytical, and it was just brilliant. So I really like that, minus the Mr. Huffle squeaks. Because while they were funny, it was also slightly disturbing. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, that whole thing with the interrogation between those two, it was great. My next favorite part was when the Doctor broadcasts live into the recording, which was weird, but also hilarious and awesome. And I'm not going to stop asking it, but why... I don't understand why the guy keeps a gun in his head. It just seems so strange and unnecessary. But it also led to a amazing line that... was going to be one of my quotes of the episode, but I decided to put it in here, and that is, good to keep an open mind. That was a great line from the Doctor. And there were so many other lines. Actually, that reminds me, was there another? Okay, yeah, there is another line. You can probably guess what it is at this point, but it is one of the quotes of the episode. But moving on from there, and again, this is just a simple one, but it made me laugh so hard. It's when they go to the Tokyo location, and the Doctor says, in order to distract everyone and, you know, kind of make the other people scarce, he filled the bottom floor with Pokemon. And the thing that continues to baffle me and make me laugh more about that scene is the fact that I don't know whether he means he filled it with literal Pokemon, or if it was a reference to Pokemon Go and he just put like all of the Pokemon down there. Because either way it could work, and either way it would be hilarious. Although if they had done, like, you know, the physical Pokemon, it would have been cool to have actually seen one of them. Of course, then they probably would have owed some, some licensing fees. But that aside, my next favorite part of the episode was nearing the end, when the Doctor gets his brilliant idea, and the one Dr. Sim, or whatever his name is supposed to be as a Krang body snatcher thing, it's when the Doctor realizes that it's not the right time, so let's make the time right now. And the great thing about him being in a room full of switches and buttons is he loves switches and buttons. And then he gets the creepy smile that Nardole hates, and yeah. Oh, that was fun. Oh, actually, now that reminds me, I actually skipped one of my points here. Nardole. The fact that Nardole was back. And as was explained with a thankful little bit of exposition, is that Nardole was removed from the body of Hydroflax and then reassembled by the Doctor. Cool. I mean, I have some other thoughts on that, but all the same, it's pretty cool. And as a companion alongside the Doctor, he was pretty fun. I really enjoyed him. He was funny, hilariously ADHD. But I loved it. And to a degree, like when he was piloting the TARDIS and when they were helping each other and they were both sipping tea, there is such a companionship right there between the two of them. Which obviously means he's a companion. But, okay, moving on from there, the reference to the 24 years that have passed. And I can't remember exactly, but they did make reference to it in the episode 24 Years, What a Night, which obviously is his last night with River Song. And I know not a lot of people, or some people aren't huge fans of River Song. They're not huge fans of the way that like she was written during Moffat's time as the head writer. But on an overall, I can definitely I mean, at the very least, you can understand why the Doctor would be so upset there. Because, okay, even though they may not have spent much time together through the course of his life and, well, most of her life, it's understandable that after 24 years together, of, you know, what occurs during that time we'll never know, most likely, but those 24 years of being together and spending time together, that he, if he didn't already, like, truly came to love her over that period of time. And it's, you know, no matter what your feelings on River Song are, it's understandable, and I would hope it's easy to empathize with the Doctor and why he's, well, Nardole keeps making reference to it. You know, the Doctor keeps himself busy. But why he would be so upset about it. I mean, the Doctor has been upset about losing a lot of people. But at this point, he's lost his wife, who he got to spend 24 Earth years with. So, yeah. I don't know what else to say about that. But moving on from there, my final favorite part of this episode actually isn't part of the episode itself, but it is the preview of Bill in Series 10. And just getting all these little flashes, a teaser trailer, I guess you would say. And I'm really looking forward to seeing Bill as the companion, or co-companion, seemingly, because it seems like, at least from what little snippets we got, that Nardole's going to be along for a little while. So I honestly hope he's going to be around for a while, at least like half of the next series. But and I can't remember the actress's name, but I follow her on Twitter now, and she seems like a legitimately awesome person. So yeah, I can't wait to see what her character holds in store for us in the upcoming series. I'm really excited about that. But okay, those are all my favorite parts. As for my annoyances, and, I always make reference to some of these are nitpicks, but you can judge them however you want. The first of which is, unfortunately, and I didn't write down the actress's name, but the woman who plays Lucy, her acting at times is not so great. Now, I did make reference to that scene where she was interrogating the Doctor. That was really well done. That was well acted. She did a really good job at that point, and she does good to decent through the rest of the episode too. But there are certain times where, like, either her delivery seems off, or like the way her facial expression is, like with when Brock makes the comment about the same thing you want, his body, is like, I expected a look of confusion. But like the look she gave almost made it seem like maybe she was in on it, which didn't make any sense. And again, that may just be me reading the body language wrong, but it's some of her acting at times was really off. I think that's the best way to put it. Now again, she seems to be a good actress overall, but it's just some of those scenes, I don't know if it was the direction or what, but they just didn't work for me. So yeah, call that a nitpick if you wish. My second annoyance with this episode is this episode has no real connection to Christmas other than the intro. Because unless I'm mistaken, the rest of the episode doesn't seem to take place on Christmas. Or if it does, they don't make reference to it. The only time they make a reference to Christmas is at the beginning, where the kid thinks, and the mom apparently thinks, Santa has arrived. So yeah, I just thought that was really weird, because to some degree, the other Christmas specials, unless I'm forgetting something, have always had a bit more of a stronger reference to Christmas. And again, I could be way off here, but it feels like that connection was lost here, to where, like, this special could have taken place at any time during the year. It could have been a summer special, a Christmas special, or whenever they wanted to release it. But they added in just that little tiny bit of Christmas at the very beginning to be like, oh, it's the Christmas special, okay. So yeah, that just seems strange to me. Now my third and final annoyance is probably the biggest one, and I'm sure some of you are going to roll your eyes at this, but just the constant, blatant Superman idea ripoffs for the writing in this episode. And I mean, if you're not familiar with all the comics, it wouldn't bug you as much, but I'm not even that knowledgeable when it comes to comics, but I know enough about Superman that, I picked out all of those scenes and made those character comparisons to characters within the comics, and it was so annoying. So every time I saw someone, well, like when it's revealed that Lucy's married name is Lombard. LL, Lois Lane, and it's, I don't know, just certain elements of it, and then even some of the dialogue, oh yeah, definitely some of the dialogue for the super cheesy comic book style, which, again, it can be funny, and a lot of it was funny, but some of it was just super cringy. And the only reason it was said that way was because it's based on comic books, which, I don't know, it bugged me. But just all of those, in the end, all of those ripoffs from, like, comic book ideas made it feel like really lazy writing. And, I mean, the episode, without giving away my full thoughts on the episode quite yet, I mean, it was a fun episode, but a lot of those things made it feel lazily written. The story itself wasn't that big of a deal, I guess you could say. But okay, those are all my annoyances. As always, let me know your annoyances and favorites. I mentioned that earlier, but I don't care. This is the way I do things. Moving on from there, my questions of the episode, or, well, questions / kind of theories, I guess. The first one is that with Grant not being part of an alternate universe or an alternate timeline, as far as I can tell, but he's a person with superpowers in New York. So does this mean that there has always been, to a degree, a superhero that exists in the Doctor Who universe? And if so, why hasn't the superhero saved the Earth from aliens before? Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey stuff, I know. But still, it's just like, it feels strange that there would be a superhero with all these powers, that there have been alien attacks, the world has basically been destroyed before, again, with, the whole paradox thing with the 10th Doctor and Martha and blah, blah, blah. So, if he was alive and had powers during that time, why wouldn't he have participated? I don't know. It raises way too many questions for me, really thinking about that. But it's something that bugs me and something I'm really curious about. And I wonder whether or not it might be addressed in the upcoming series. Hopefully so. Or maybe it's basically one of those one-off stories where, and they were never spoken of again. He continued to have his powers, but never used them. Sure, we'll go with that. But my second question of the episode is, how did the Doctor put Nardole back together? Now, I know he technically wasn't dead. He was in Hydroflax's body. But he was reassembled. The Doctor reconnected his head to his body. Or a body, at least. So, how did that happen? Is it like his central nervous system in his head became attached to a new body? Like perhaps a robot body, maybe? Or was he able to somehow reconnect Nardole's central nervous system to his body, which was dead, but somehow brought it back to life? I don't know. That's another thing that I'm intensely curious about. And with Nardole clearly going to be around for at least another episode, hopefully longer, I really want to know how that happened. I want some form of explanation as to how all that worked. And hopefully we'll get it. I don't know. Now, as for a track of the episode, I don't know that I really have one. I'm sorry, my eye is itching, or I have something in my eye. But, I don't have really a big track of that episode. I did find the superhero music that would play from time to time. It was pretty good. It was pretty enjoyable. Kind of basic. I mean, it was nothing really special as far as superhero music goes. So, I guess the Doctor Who theme. That works for me. But if there are any tracks that stood out to you all, I'd really like to know what they are. Because, again, just nothing really stuck out to me in this season, or this series, in this special. Words. Brain. I've been invaded by a crane. Sorry. But, moving on from there to my quotes of the episode. One that was it was perfect, and it was ridiculously cheesy in a very comic book way, is when Dr. Sim says, "I had a change of mind," when the surgeons are coming for Mr. Brock, and it was just so perfect. It was a brilliant villain one-liner, and it was just hilarious. I loved it. So, very well done on that. Now, my next quote of the episode is from the Doctor, and it has to be one of the most brilliant lines, I think, ever. But the thing is, it's not a line that's very special, but at the same time, it can be applied to so many things. It can be applied to real life. It can be applied to probably a ton of Doctor Who episodes. But also, it's like different movies and TV shows in general. And that is, there are some situations which are just too stupid to be allowed to continue. It's just... Oh, it's such a brilliant line, and I love it. That may be... with the right context, that line right there, it should be in so many shows. Especially when you have someone like the Doctor who knows a little bit too much, or way too much. So yeah, I really like that line. Any of your other quotes that you would like to voice? As always, please do let me know. Now, moving on to some theories of mine that seem to be pretty well, not clear exactly, but I'm pretty confident in these theories. The first of which is that Nardole is going to stick around for at least half of the next series. It could be one of those deals where next episode or the first episode happens, Bill comes along and Nardole leaves for whatever reason. But I hope not, because I would really like to see him be part of the show for a while, alongside Bill and the Doctor. I think that would be a lot of fun. And my second theory is that Unit is going to be taken over by the brain things, the Krangs, and they will be revisited in this next series. I'm curious to see if anything might happen to Osgood, or the Osgood twins, I guess it is at this point. But yeah, I'm really interested to see how that's going to come up, because they wouldn't have included it in this special, that Unit soldier with a scar across his face, unless it was clearly meant to clearly imply that they aren't gone yet. Although I do have I guess you could call this an annoyance too, but if Unit just got there and they basically just found Dr. Sim's body there, without the eyes, how would the surgeons have had time to do the old switcheroo there? And for that matter, what happened to the surgeons when the spaceship came down? They just kind of disappeared. I have a lot more questions than I thought I did. So yeah, that takes a big logic leap, I guess, in the end, but whatever. In the end, my theory is that Unit will be taken over by the Krangs / brain things, and hopefully Osgood doesn't die. Both of the Osgoods don't die. So, from there, that brings us to my overall thoughts on this episode, and it was fun. It was a fun episode. It was one that, you know, had I been able to watch it at Christmas, I would have really enjoyed. I would have thought it was a lot of fun. It's always fun to see the Doctor enjoying himself, especially when he gets the crazy eyes and the crazy grin. Nardole being there was a great addition. And overall, they did a pretty decent job with the whole comic book superhero thing. But when it comes to applying like logic, and clearly with all these questions I keep coming up with as I'm going along, it feels like this episode has a lot of holes in it. The possibility that Grant has always been there with superpowers, but not until now. Again, just like all those holes in the story just really... It feels like the episode, as opposed to some of the other Christmas episodes, touches on some bigger aspects of what is coming up, as opposed to it being more of a contained story. Mostly having to do with him being a superhero, Nardole, and Unit. Or what might happen to Unit. So yeah, it was a fun episode. I really enjoyed it. It's very enjoyable. But overall, I could take it or leave it. I guess this actually works along with the superhero theme having to do with the episode, but I might watch it again, but just as a popcorn movie. Almost. I mean, it's only an hour long movie, but still, it's, you know, something you'd watch not for like the deep details of the story or anything like that. You just watch it for fun. And again, that's what popcorn movies are all about. Like, they're just supposed to be fun and possibly a bit stupid. So in that regard, I feel like the episode did pretty well in and of itself. It's got some again, the enjoyment and the fun of it are the most positive aspects of it, but the story plot holes and just the writing of the story and some of the dialogue overall definitely leaves something to be desired. Again, just from my perspective at least. So, moving on from there, unfortunately there won't be any more regular Discovering Doctor Who's for a little while, at least until Series 10 begins, and I'm able to watch them here in the US. I don't know if there's a different release schedule or not. But coming up next time on Discovering Doctor Who will be Series 10 with Bill, the Doctor, and Nardole for however long he's around. But also, just for any of you that might be wondering, yes, I am going to be doing Classic Doctor Who coming soon, because I will be finishing up Torchwood Season 1, or Series 1, very soon, and after that I will be beginning some Classic Doctor Who, starting with the First Doctor. And we'll discuss how I'm going to handle, all that, because that could take a while. But anyway, I've been talking long enough. You all, thank you for putting up with my rambling and my thoughts and my continued questions that come up as I went along with this. But hey, it's been a while since I've done Discovering Doctor Who in particular, not including the movie. So it's fun to get back into this, and I am very much looking forward to Season 10. Series 10. Sorry, still a habit. But until next time, everyone, I am Papa Ken, and I will see you for Series 10. Allons-y!